Hey folks, welcome to Bear Mountain. This week we are planting our early potatoes. Our climate has been really wet the last month, and so planting outside for us has kind of been difficult. The ground's really muddy, but we have space inside of our tunnel here, and if you kind of look off to the left here, we did plant our onions in here, and looks like they already need to be weeded. Well, that happens. We'll get the collinear hoe out and just kind of scratch things out, but we've got a nice row of storage onions and some shallots as well in here. So what we figured out on the onion side is we put in approximately, it looks like somewhere around, because they're multi-sown in blocks, it's going to be somewhere around 700 storage onions, which should, in combination with the 300 or so we have up in the main garden area, should give us 1,000 potentials, which means in reality we get about 20. No, I'm just kidding. We'll get you know, probably a good 80% of those would be, you know, what we consider you know, nice good size. So this should work out pretty good. And so today what we're working on though is we're going to plant the potatoes. Now this bed right here is where we're going to start with. I gave it a light scratching with a hula hoe, and this has had, I wanted to get 3 applications of JMS, the microorganism solution, and the grass liquid fertilizer, but I only was able to get 2 in, and the potatoes came and I noticed that they already started to sprout, and so like we've already got, they're already starting to bud pretty good. And these guys are really pretty good size. We got these guys, this is red Norland, and we got it from Johnny's.
All
of them for Johnny's, yeah.
Johnny's.
Actually, they call it dark red Norland. So what we did is we cut them, the bigger ones, we cut them in half, make sure we had enough eyes on them. An eye is wherever you see a little sprout. And the smaller guys, you know, that are like this size, we're just going to plant them whole. So out of a 5-pound pack, we're able to get about 26 plants out of this. Probably, you know, if I really wanted to be aggressive, we could have probably done a little more, but I didn't want to cut them down too far, you know, into quarters or something like that. So, but, you know, this should work out pretty good. And the varieties we're going to be planting this year are the red Norland, which is an early, meaning this one's going to come on pretty fast. It's the kind of potato you use for, like steaming, and usually it's a really soft flesh. It's not a, you know, long storage type, but it'll, you know, so you want to kind of use them pretty fast, or maybe you want to can with them in a stew or something like that in that nature.
Like for new potatoes? Yeah,
new potatoes would be perfect for that. And then the next variety that we're going to put in that's kind of an early to mid, kind of in that, is Yukon Gold. And then we start getting into our more mid to mid-late varieties. We've got Kennebec, and then we have a russet that's called Caribou. And I'm missing a variety. Did that do 5? Let's see. Got Norland,
you're missing
Yukon.
Strawberry Paw.
Strawberry Paw, or is that what's called, Strawberry Paw? And I think that's also a mid to late. So we've got an area here. This area we're going to plant today is about 30 feet long. And then we've got a secondary area on the other side of the house over here that will plant the remaining. So that's about 40 feet. So all in total, we're going to have in here potatoes that will be about like an equivalent to a 70-foot row. Now, how we're going to plant these guys is I'm going to plant them with the eyes facing up, and what I'm going to try to do is kind of make them like staggered. So like if you look at it, it's kind of like a triangle, and the idea is that individual plants will be like 12 inches apart, but we'll be able to get more intense planting on the row itself. So the whole thing that we're going to do here is we are going to be mulching these guys to hill them up. So it's not like we're going to dig a trench. I mean, some styles of planting potatoes, you you can dig a trench, put the potato in, and then just keep, when it sprouts, just keep, pulling the dirt back over. But what we're going to be using is we're going to plant. I'm using my hori knife. This soil is really, I'm trying to go down about that deep from the tip of the knife down, which will leave me about 3 or 4 inches over the top, and then just cover them up. Now I'm going to put a little piece of paper here or something. I'll put a little stick so that I know where I stopped, so I don't make a mistake. We'll put that by it so I know there's a spud there. So the thing I want to do here before I plant them all is I'm going to lay them all out, and then that's the extent of the planting process. So it'll go actually pretty fast, and then we'll water these guys in really good, and they should start sprouting, I would think, fairly quickly, particularly the guys that have really good sprouts on them already. They should start moving up pretty fast.
So what are you going to do to keep them covered, hilling them up, so to speak?
Okay, we've got a lot of really old hay that is rotted pretty good. It's been sitting outside in the rain and all that for like 2 years now. And so it's almost like in a form of a kind of a compost in a way. And we're going to use that to just basically mulch around the plants themselves. I did that last year before the nutria got them, and actually it really worked out pretty well in terms of supporting the plant and everything like that. And this should get, these spuds will get easily this tall. We're talking about 30-inch probably. They'll be a little bit floppy maybe as things go forward, but they'll also be done, New Orleans will be first. That's how we're going to plant them, New Orleans, and then Yukons, and then just kind of go down the line in terms of the oldest, latest maturing stuff will be on the outside row. So this row should be open up by the end of July to then go ahead and start planting either like a quick cover crop in for 30 days, or we'll put in some greens or something of that nature that'll kind of take us through till fall. And then the whole idea is in the fall, we'll rotate in probably coal crops, try to get in, in July, maybe that's the way to do a quick, I'm trying to think this out here on the fly, do like a quick lettuce crop in here we can harvest pretty fast. And then we'll be ready to plant by August our overwintering coal crops. So like by late August.
Like cabbages and
cabbages
stuff like that will come on next spring.
Right.
Early,
Right.
Before these would even.
And then maybe put some kale in here that we can eat during the winter time too.
Right.
So it's all kind of, if it's quick lettuce, it'll be almost like a microgreen. We'll just come in, eat it, boom, it's gone. Or depending on how the timing works out, maybe I'll rotate in some buckwheat. So, there's all kinds of flexibility I could do here. The onions on the other side here will be finished approximately, probably around the same time. So when they're ready to be cured, we won't be leaving them on the ground very long at all. We'll be pulling them out and putting them in we've got a crate house on the other side that has some nice racking in it that we can put the onions in there to cure pretty warm. It'll be warm during the summertime, get some air breeze in there, and they'll be off the ground. So they should be able to cure pretty fast. That will open this side up for either, again, cover crops and other things that we might think about fall, like maybe some snow peas or late crops like that. The idea is that we want to be able to start using this tunnel all year long, and kind of go with that as the idea of what we're trying to do is get as much out of this as we can. We're not being super efficient. I know there are people that are market gardeners that just go, but man, you're wasting so much space. But for us, this is just getting started on figuring this out.
Yeah, this is a learning curve for us.
Yeah,
now we know how to grow and flip flowers fast.
Yeah,
that's not what we're working on anymore.
We need some historical experience with vegetables.
Yeah.
So then also too, as these things grow, I've got another batch of Genam microorganism solution, just started it, and so it'll be ready probably sometime well, at this temperatures we got going, probably about 4 days. And so it'll be ready early next week, because today is Thursday. So it'll be ready like Sunday or Monday, depending on how things go. And we'll use that again as part of our fertilization process for both the onions and the potatoes and basically everything in here. We'll get a grass Jadam liquid fertilizer and the microorganism solution. So, and that'll be done on like our target is to do the microorganism solution and the fertilizer at about every 7 to 10 days. I want to hit it at least 3 times a month, you know, until the plants get to the point where they're moving towards senescence. And then at that point, it's not going to make a whole lot of sense to put any more fertilizer in. But we may still put in microorganism solution into the water just to kind of keep, you know, diversity in the soil going. It's already, I can see a big difference, you know, in terms of like, you know, the 2 applications we made. This soil was really hard before. And so when I dig it up, it's like, well, that's like 6 inches down. It's got a lot of roots in it, so I know there's no hard pan, and it just takes hardly anything to break it up. So.
And it wasn't tilled.
No, it was not tilled. None of this was tilled. The only thing I did was like scratch the surface like about maybe a ½ inch just to, you know, make sure I knocked any weeds down or anything like that. So any other thoughts before I ramble on?
No. It's just the first 2 potatoes of a set of 5. And then we have our own potatoes. There's kind of a mix of stuff.
Yeah, we got a couple of different varieties with that. We have the Pinto, I think it was called, which kind of it's kind of like a.
That was the only one we dug out of the main field.
Yeah, it's a kind of a earlier potato, kind of creamy flesh to it, and it was good for steaming. And it has a white skin and a red skin. So it kind of like has little dots of white, you know, kind of like a Pinto pony. And it's kind of pretty cool. It doesn't get super big.
Is that the only one we have left?
Yeah, we ate most of the other ones. I do have some classic Burbank russet that did sprout, and I may put a few of those in because they make really good bakers because they're so big.
So the trick was to time this out so that we would be just finishing up with our potatoes, and when the next ones would be coming on, we're off. Mm-hmm. But that's part of the learning curve, right?
Yeah. Well, what I hope is from the tunnel perspective that we'll stay with those things that should be done by, you know, August, at the latest on the outside. Late August, and then, you know, these being earlier will go faster, and we'll see how that goes. So I got to get to it. So the key to it is getting them all laid out, you know, make sure that, you know, we have pretty good spacing. And as you can see, I got 3 drip lines, and that should be more than enough to get our moisture on it. So I don't have much more to say on that this week, except it's time to get your gardens planted, folks. Even though you wouldn't believe it from the climate sometimes in some places of this country, other places it's just burning hot and dry, and we are on the other side of that jet stream.
We had a frost this morning.
Yeah, we're on the other side of that jet stream. We had a late frost this morning, and we're still, you know, like fruit trees haven't budded out yet. They're just getting started, and usually they're about probably 3 weeks, 3 weeks behind.
3 weeks behind or so. So.
But you know how these things go, because you're going to be cold, and then bam, instant summer. So that's why we're getting this stuff going. Anyway, thanks for joining us this week, and you guys take care out there. And as always, stay safe. We'll catch you on the next video. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.